अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मायं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासाहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोस्तुते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 2, Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is answers by citing the Lord's version, and we are on text 41 and 42. I can probably read the text. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirate. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Text 41, 2.9.41. Narada Priyatamo Shikshatadam Anuvartha Shrushrushtamana Shilena Prayasyanadamena cha. Narada, unto him. Narada, the great sage. Narada Priyatama, very dear. Ritkta Adanam, of the inheritor's sons. Anuvartha, very obedient. Shushrushamana, always ready to serve. Shilena, by good behavior. Rasanyayena, by meekness. Damena, by sense control. Cha, also. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We will get started, Mataji.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for joining in and giving your precious time. Please accept our humble obeisances on behalf of everybody who have joined the group and are about to join or will be watching the recording later on. So Mataji, we are on Canto 2, Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is answers by citing the Lord's version, and the text for today is text 41 and 42. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Am I audible? I'm audible, right? I'm just using two devices. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, Mataji. You are very much audible.
Okay. So today we will be concluding the verses from the ninth chapter, second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's get started with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyayata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskrityam, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Chayam Utirayet, Srinivata Swagata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtanaha, Hridayantasto Hi Apatrani, Vidunuti Sugrit Satam, Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. As you all know, we'll just do a recap today, dear devotees. And you'd understand today's verse just through the recap. It's going to be pretty evident. As you all know, the second canto establishes the supremacy and the universality of the Bhakti Yoga. It presents, yes, the authentic descriptions of the process and the purpose of creation of this material universe. Again, this is happening through the conversation of Brahma and Narada Muni. The second canto, we also saw that Chatusloki Bhagavatam, or the 4 seed verses of Bhagavatam, was spoken by the Supreme Lord to Brahma. And we also understood the prayers of Sukadev Goswami, the attitude of Brahma in this canto. It all demonstrates there is a dedication of, he's able to dedicate, he's able to help us understand his dedication of a devotee of Krishna. And this canto has also multiple descriptions of universal form, that is the Virat Roop. And it establishes, yes, Lord is the source, He's the foundation, and He's the sustenance of this universe. And in this canto, we'll also be seeing the definitions of 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first question that was asked by Parikshit was how to live and how to live. And Sukadev Goswami, he started responding to those. Parikshit, whose death is not away, it is just a week's time, he sat amidst the sages who had assembled all over the universe, and he was very eager to listen. Our Sukadev Goswami, he first congratulated, yes, Parikshit, you asked noble questions, and this is indeed very, very essential or beneficial for human society. This was what he said. And Sukadev Goswami, he first emphasized on living a God-centered life, right? Those who are materialistic, being blind to spiritual knowledge, and those who have thousands of subjects to hear, chant, and remember, they are what? They are attached to the temporary bodies of this material nature. And they work hard, yes, day and night to earn this money. And of course, what happens in the night? It is only sleep and sex. Whereas one who actually desires freedom from these worldly fears and miseries, they hear and glorify and remember Lord Krishna. This was the point. Right? And the highest perfection of life is achieved by cultivation of remembrance of Krishna throughout their life. Remember him at the end of life also. That is the true test. Constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna And that is the success of life. And this is Bhakti Yoga. If you look at it, two main points that are emphasized were chanting the names of the God is the foremost way to connect one's consciousness with God and thereby attain Him. One who lives a pure life centered on God, he can remember God even at the time of death and attain God after death. This is what Sukadeva Goswami said. Sukadeva Goswami, he continued, it's better to live for a moment in full of Krishna consciousness rather than live, okay, hundreds and hundreds of life, but devoid of Krishna. And then he quotes the example of Katwang Maharaj. He had only one muhurta, that is 48 minutes left before his death. And then what did he do? He took shelter of Krishna within that time and attained Krishna. This will be elaborated, of course, in the 9th canto. Dear Parikshit, you don't have just one muhurta, but you have 7 days to make all good arrangements for a better next life. So, again, the point here, dear devotees, as far as these things go, is one point. The quality of consciousness in life matters more than quantity and facilities in life. Okay. And then Sukadev Goswami had recommended or given a conclusive recommendation that Bhakti Yoga or loving devotional service unto Lord is the best way of living life. As it enables what? As it enables one to attain Krishna at the time of death, in after death also. However, in the great assembly, there were various stages who were still unconvinced. Oh, I don't think there is power of bhakti. And they were obviously telling that Ashtanga Yoga was the best path. Addressing their thoughts, Sukadev Goswami also said, a person at the last stage of one's life, he must give up his material desires. And, with the Ashtanga Yoga, you have to, obviously practice the 8 kinds of practices, right? Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. Thus, after you perfect the preliminary limbs of yoga, when one attains or reaches the dharana stage and becomes free from the contaminations of the mind, he fixes his mind then on Lord's forms and achieves the goal of preparation. And meditation is to concentrate one's mind on what? Lord Vishnu or Krishna, and not some void, right? Or imaginary light or some material object. Parikshit Maharaj curiously asked, what is the authentic object of meditation for a person who is doing Ashtanga Yoga? And Sukadev Goswami answered, for a neophyte devotee who still has material desires lingering in his heart, the object of meditation for that person is Virat Roop. That is the universal form. But for an advanced yogi, it is the super soul or the Paramatma. Right? The universe is nothing but it is a manifestation of Lord's energy. The energy is non-different from energetic. There are various aspects in this universe, the planets, the devatas, all are understood to be different limbs of the Lord. And this is Virat Roop. Like Patal Lok represents his feet, Swarga Loka represents his chest, Satya Loka, it represents his head, and so on and so forth. So another form of the Lord is the divine entity called Paramatma, who resides where? Who resides in the heart of everyone. He's 8 inches high, 4 hands, and beautiful outfits and ornaments. When the neophyte devotee meditates on the cosmic Virat Roop, we know as he advances, his mind, as he advances and becomes an advanced yogi, he would then start to meditate on the divine Paramatma. We saw that, the whole description of that, we saw it very elaborately. Now, this particular yogi, he is purified of his material desires, and gradually by that meditation, he is now going to merge with the Supreme Brahman. And depending on our consciousness, right, God is so merciful. He manifests various forms and gives opportunity for us to connect based on our consciousness with Him. Wherever we are, gradually we elevate ourselves in that path. Now, as you all can understand, Ashtanga Yoga is the path of meditation. However, it is just not practical for all of the people of Kali Yuga due to fickle-mindedness, due to our nature of being fickle-minded, and we do have senses that are unruly. Therefore, Sukadeva Goswami, he recommends, oh my God, Ashtanga Yoga can be practical for people, and therefore, Bhakti Yoga is the one he recommends. And he declares the supremacy and effectiveness of Bhakti Yoga. He says, this Bhakti Yoga is the auspicious path for everyone suffering in this world. And devotional service unto Krishna, it produces what? It produces love for him. Lord Brahma confirmed this after scrutinizing the study of Vedas thrice. Those who drink the nectarian narrations of Lord Krishna through their ears purify their polluted aims of life and attain what? Krishna's feet. This is the power of bhakti, he said. So sincerely hearing about Krishna from the great souls, what happens? One gets purified of their material propensities, and he gives us, because of our constant devotion to Krishna, Krishna gives us the bliss of love of Godhead. So while some people practice Ashtanga Yoga to attain liberation, others perform various religious rituals to attain heaven, to worship the different devatas, to fulfill, there could be like millions and millions of material desires for material enjoyment. And Sukadeva Goswami says, yes, people do perform that religious rituals to attain heaven and fulfill their material desires. However, Sukadeva Goswami, he rejects all such methods and emphatically recommends, oh, you know what? An intelligent person should endeavor only for the bare necessities of life to maintain, and instead strive for the perfection of life. Just you need the bare necessities. So whether one is desireless, that is akama, or one is full of kama, that is full of desires, or one is desirous of moksha kama, liberation, a person with a broader intelligence, he must worship Krishna with what? Tivra bhakti, intense bhakti. And bhakti is best when it's performed in the association of devotees, like how we are all doing. And the point about bhakti is that anyone can perform bhakti irrespective of one's background. Now, hearing about the importance of bhakti, hearing of Krishna, Parikshit fixed his mind on him and said, Sukadeva Goswami, you are the expert in discerning spiritual truths and you have realized Krishna. I wish to know how the Supreme Lord creates, maintains, and destroys the universe by his Maya Shakti. Parikshit Maharaj, please note, dear devotees, he didn't initially ask about, what is the confidential, he didn't ask about the confidential affairs of Krishna with his devotees or gopis, but instead he asked about the universal affairs of creation activities. So the point here is, without understanding the greatness of Krishna's power, one may offensively consider or ignorantly belittle his sweet pastimes with his devotees as worldly exchanges. That's the problem. So, before answering Parikshit, Sukadeva Goswami offered his prayers to Krishna. He says, my respect unto the auspicious Lord Krishna who creates this world, who resides in everyone's heart and who destroys the suffering of all his devotees. He says, worshipping him, hearing about him, praying him, or glorifying him, remembering him, seeing him, at once one is cleansed of all sinful effects. One is relieved of all present and future attachments by surrendering on to his lotus feet. Any amount of great qualities cannot offer desired results without dedication of service to Krishna. People, they can come of any sinful background. They can be purified by taking shelter of Krishna's feet. He's the ultimate protector and he's the goal of everyone. Just as he made the Vedas flow from Brahma's mouth, May let the description of his pastimes flow from my mouth too. This is all his prayers, Sukadeva Goswami's prayers. May he be pleased to decorate my words with literary ornaments and qualities, invoking his wonderful qualities to bring joy to the listeners here. My obeisances, he says, on to Lord Vasudev, who compiled the Vedic literatures. Sorry, he just pays his obeisances to Vyasadeva, who's the compiler of the Vedic literatures. So the point here, devotees, as we go through the prayers, is everyone's ability to glorify the Lord comes from where? From Lord only. The humble devotees actually seek blessings from the Lord. And his devotees, I mean, obviously, they seek blessings not only from Lord Krishna. Here we also see Sukadeva Goswami seeks his blessings from Vyasadeva, his father. That's his devotees. The humble devotee seeks the blessings from not only the Lord, but also his devotees for the purification before praising the Lord. This is the point. Okay. So Sukadeva Goswami now offers the prayers to the Lord and then wants to answer the question that is posed by our dear Parikshit Maharaj. Hope you're able to understand the flow, dear devotees. This is what we saw in this canto. And then, having offered heartfelt prayers to Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami answered Parikshit Maharaj's inquiry about the universal creation by actually quoting the following conversation that happened between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni. Are you able to understand? So, we have a scene within scene. Okay. So, Parikshit Maharaj is asking question or inquiry about the universal creation of the Lord. And now, our dear Sukadeva Goswami is quoting the conversation that happened between Lord Brahma and Narada Muni. Okay? A bona fide teacher is the one who transmits the transcendental teachings received from the spiritual lineage or spiritual parampara. See, all we have to do is repeat the words of our acharyas, repeat the words of Srila Prabhupada. Nothing more. You should be just like a parrot that repeat. We are not mincing anything or adding any flavor to what has already been said. That's very important. That's what our Sukadeva Goswami is doing. So Narada inquired from Brahma about the universe. My dear father, could you tell me the characteristics of the universe? How was this universe created and how is it conserved? You know everything about this universe because you have created it by your energy, isn't it? Just like how a spider creates its cobweb, like that you created this universe. But I just have one question, my dear father. And that question that Narada Muni had for Brahma was, see, you're the creator, but why do you have to perform austerities? Does that mean there is someone who's more powerful than you? Right? This was the question that Narada had for Lord Brahma. And sometimes even great souls inquire some basic subjects not out of ignorance, but to uncover the deeper knowledge for what? For welfare of people like us, welfare of common men. So, and now this is Brahmaji's humble humility that we can see through this conversation. He declared, yes, I am subordinate to the Lord. Lord Brahma is saying to Narada, the Supreme Lord Vishnu is beyond me. Although I am known as the creator of the universe, what I do, I just recreate or assemble what has already been created by Lord Vishnu. People who are bewildered by this Maya think me to be the Supreme, but I am not the Supreme. My Shakti is Lord's illusory energy that bewilders the jivas through the three modes of ignorance. That is goodness, passion, and ignorance. Now, only if you're an honest subordinate of the Lord, you will acknowledge the grace of the Lord for their glorious matters. Brahmaji here duly transfers the credit of his personal accomplishments and he gives it to the Lord. And he doesn't want to pose as an independent achiever. No way. After that, after this, through this, what you can understand is Brahma's humility, right? He just says, I'm just a subordinate to the Lord. The Lord is the cause of all causes. I create what has already been created by the Lord, nothing more. And then Brahmaji starts to describe about the characteristics of the universe. So he says there are 5 components of the universe, and he talks through that. And only through the power of Lord Vishnu, I create, Shiva destroys, and Vishnu himself maintains everything. As you all can understand, he then concludes to say God is the basis. He is the foundation and shelter of this universe, and nothing is non-different from him. Lord Brahma, he then described the initial process of creation of this material universe. Lord Mahavishnu, who lies on the causal ocean, glances on the inactive material nature that is Prakriti, that constitutes the 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. He then impregnates the jivas into the womb of the Prakriti. By the influence of this time, Prakriti then undergoes various transformations, giving rise to what is called Ahankar. And then the modes become active because of time. Then the false ego in 3 modes further generates diverse ingredients of the material world, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, senses, subtle sense objects, mind, intelligence, and the presiding deities of the senses. So, as a result, now we can understand everything in this material world is originally a product of false ego. One who overcomes this ego by Bhakti Yoga, he can transcend this material world and go to what is called the spiritual world. All right, dear devotees. So these elements, they combine together by Lord's cohesive energy, and then they form a universal shell. Mahavishnu, he then expands himself as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and he enters into this universal shell. He was finding this universal shell to be empty, so he first fills the first half of it with his own perspiration. That's what is called Garbhodaka ocean. He lies on the ocean, and from his navel he sprouts a lotus. Brahma, he appears on the lotus and becomes empowered by the Lord. He creates the Manus, he creates the Prajapatis and the sages, and then populates the universe with a different species according to their previous karmas. Right? Without Vishnu's intervention, of course, the material energy, they cannot undergo the transformations and be able to manifest this universe. Now, we saw about the creation of the universe. As the time passes, the destruction of universe also happens, where the universe again merges into the body of Lord Mahavishnu. And then it is conserved till the next cycle of creation is due. So the purpose of repeated creation and destruction of the universe, what is the purpose? It is to give a chance. Yeah, conditioned souls are there. They have their selfish mentalities. And what they have to do is they have to adopt the process of bhakti so they can go back to Godhead. Now, describing the incredible or inconceivable powers of Vishnu, Lord Brahma said, I hold this Lord in my heart. With great zeal and great enthusiasm, I hold the Lord in my heart. Therefore, my words, my senses, my mind cannot go wrong. But I can understand him. Although I am learned, although I am austere and expert in mystic powers and worshipped by the Prajapatis, I cannot understand him. Even the Lord himself is unable to estimate his own limits. What to speak of others? Therefore, it is best for me to kind of surrender onto his lotus feet, and that ends our material existence. I'll surrender onto. Though we cannot fully understand him, we can still glorify his activities in various incarnations, but we may not understand him completely or fully. The greatness of this Lord, Lord Vishnu or Krishna, is beyond comprehension. Again, with our limited intelligence, we can't comprehend at all. Yet sincerely, we glorify him to the best of our abilities. Because what it does, it just purifies our consciousness. So, therefore, just to elucidate this point, Brahma briefly described to Narada about Krishna's incarnations. He talked about Rama, Varaha, Kapila, Makshya, Vamana, everybody, Kurma, Nashima. And then he talked about their powers of descent as well. Of course, the pastimes of these incarnations are described in detail throughout Bhagavatam. Finally, Brahmaji concluded to Narada Muni and said, it is impossible to understand greatness of Krishna without his mercy. Even Ananta says, you know, right? He cannot reach reach the limits of his glories. You know, even through his 1,000 mouths, he cannot glorify Krishna completely. There are devotees like Shiva, Ambarish, Bhishma, Uddhava. Only pure devotees can attract his mercy. If one is inclined to take shelter of his pure devotees and learn from them, then even an unqualified person can know the Lord and cross this ocean of material existence. The Supreme Lord has three features. He talks about Brahman, his bodily effulgence, Paramatma, his partial expansion, seen in every heart, and then Bhagavan, that's his complete personality. And the Bhagavan feature is the topmost, and that Bhagavan feature is realized by Bhakti. Although Lord is inconceivable, one can understand him to a considerable degree by what? Through his sincere bhakti. And again, there's a caveat here. Through bhakti, in the association of devotees, in the association of just not devotees, advanced devotees. Thus, Brahma described in brief about Lord Vishnu. He then urged Narada, please distribute this knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam in such a way that it gives rise to bhakti in everyone. So that's the point. Narada is asking, please distribute this knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam in such a way it gives rise to bhakti in everyone. Now, hearing how Lord Brahma enlightened Narada, Parikshit is asking Sukadev Goswami, please speak about Narada Muni's preaching according to the instructions of his father, Lord Brahma. See, I desire to give up my body while absorbing my thoughts in the mind of Krishna. My thoughts and my mind should be involved in Krishna, and it should be devoid of material attachments. And he wanted to know, please speak about Narada Muni's preaching efforts. We all know the Lord quickly manifests in the heart of a devotee who continuously hears about him, chants about him with faith and serious endeavor. What does Krishna Katha do? Krishna Katha enters the heart through the ears and it washes away the contaminations, just as autumnal rains clear the water reservoirs. Srinuvata Swagata Krishna. So, such a person with a purified heart, he doesn't give up Krishna's lotus feet at all. Just as a traveler, he's satisfied at home after her troubled journey. Parikshit Maharaj expressed his desire. Yes, I want to hear Krishna Katha. And hearing from great souls increases one's faith in bhakti. Now, hearing from Sukadev Goswami is increasing his faith on Parikshit Maharaj about Krishna more and more. And then Parikshit Maharaj had another question. Why does the soul, who essentially is spiritual in nature, acquire a body which is material? What is the difference between the forms of Jiva and that of the Lord? This was the question our Parikshit Maharaj asked. And then Sukadev Goswami is answering, the relationship of the soul with the body is temporary. It's like a dreamer seeing this dream body. The bodies of spirit soul in various species are only products of Maya or Lord's illusory material energy. So under this influence of this material energy, what happens? The living being gets bound by the thoughts of I and mine. And on the other hand, if you look at the Lord's divine forms are manifested by his spiritual potency. By sincerely performing bhakti, This Jiva, he gets in touch with the Lord, who is the controller of Maya, and as a result, what is happening? This Jiva is becoming free from bondage. Okay? Next, Parikshit Maharaj asked a series of questions to Sukadev about the Supreme Lord, like Kala, activity, Varnashram Dharma, Yuga Dharma, everything. And Sukadev Goswami will answer this throughout the various cantos of Bhagavatam. He then requested, please answer all that I have inquired. And you know what? I might have forgotten something and I might not have inquired you of something. And please understand, my dear Sukadev Goswami, that I'm not certainly affected by hunger or thirst as I'm drinking the nectar of Lord Krishna flowing from your mouth. I'm not certainly affected by hunger or any kind of thirst. So the benevolent Guru, he bestows all the knowledge that is necessary for a sincere disciple. Whether the disciple is asking or not, Guru will bestow the knowledge. And for one who's absorbed in activities on the spiritual plane, what is happening? For Sukadev Goswami, for Parikshit Maharaj, he was concerned, oh my God, whether Sukadev Goswami will think I'm just having thirst and hunger and everything, and because of it, he may not even speak. Oh, that should not happen. So I'll clearly make a note of this point to him that I'm not affected by hunger or thirst since I'm drinking Krishna Katha. For one who is absorbed in Krishna's activities and one who's on a spiritual plane, bodily urges doesn't matter. That's why our saints, they had a buttermilk and they used to just live their life because they are no longer they are no longer in that plane. Hope you all get this point, dear devotees. And then now the 4 seed verses come, Chatusloki Bhagavatam. So being pleased with Parikshit Maharaj's conviction and eagerness to hear, our Shukadev Goswami, he spoke Srimad Bhagavatam, which was first spoken by Supreme Lord to Brahma. He said, there's another conversation, right? Supreme Lord spoke to Brahma, and this is the conversation. The Chatusloki Bhagavatam is that conversation. Okay? So we have multiple scene within scene, right? It's all conversation that's happening between Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit. But then we see Parikshit Maharaj brings up a conversation that happened between Narada Muni and Brahma. And now he is going to bring up the conversation that's happening to explain Chatusloki Bhagavatam. He is going to quote the reference of Supreme Lord to Brahma. So when Brahma appeared on the lotus and sprouted from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he was perplexed and he could not understand his duty. We all know that. At that time, what did he hear? The word tapa tapa. And being unable to find who the speaker was, Brahma inferred that he was being advised to do austerities. And then Sukadev Goswami continued, and he said, Brahma underwent penances for thousands of years, 1,000 celestial years, by concentrating his mind and controlling his senses. And being pleased with him, Lord Vishnu showed Brahma the supreme planet, that's Vaikuntha. And there he saw, in the Vaikuntha, he saw Lord Mother Lakshmi. She was engaged in service of Lord's lotus feet. And gazing at the beauty of Lord Vishnu, who was sitting on the throne surrounded by his energies, Brahma was overwhelmed with joy. In great ecstasy and with tears, he bowed down to the lotus feet of the Lord. And then the conversation took place between Supreme Lord and Brahma, and that constitutes the Chatusloki Bhagavatam, which forms as the 4 seed verses. And this is where the divine scripture expands. This 4 seed verses are responsible, this seed verses means through this, our divine scripture is expanding. What is that divine scripture that we're talking about? It's Bhagavatam. Through this 4 seed verses, our Bhagavatam is expanding. The Lord told Brahma, see, I am the one who spoke to you. I spoke tapa tapa to you when you were perplexed about your duty. I am pleased with you. Go ahead and ask for benediction from me. And Brahma requested, see, I have these questions that have been lingering in my heart, and I would like to know, please tell me about your transcendental spiritual forms and seemingly material forms that you assume. Second question he asked was, how are your various material and spiritual energies working? And then he asked, how is your relationship with your material and spiritual energies exhibited? And then, please bestow your mercy for my execution of your instructions. I have to do that without pride and bondage. So these questions are similar to some of the questions that were asked by Parikshit Maharaj. And that the Lord spoke Chatusloki in response to Brahma's questions. And he says, see, I alone exist in my spiritual form before creation of this material universe. And I also exist during maintenance, and I also exist after destruction. For the second question, he answers, whatever appears to be of any value, if it appears in relation without me, it has no reality. It is nothing but it's my illusory energy, that is Maya. For the third question, he answers, I simultaneously exist within everything and outside of everything. Thus, one who's in love with me, he can see me everywhere. And then for the fourth, he says, one who's searching after me must perform bhakti, the best process by which one can overcome the bondage, pride, and lethargy. Because he said, yeah, I have to do my job, but at the same time, I don't want to have any pride and bondage. And for that, Brahma is saying, for that, our Lord is saying, yeah, then do the job with bhakti. The Lord then disappeared, and Brahma began to recreate this universe from the elements that's already created by the Lord. And Chatusloki Bhagavatam, as you can understand, it's further expanded in our parampara. Brahma instructed it to Narada, who then taught it to Vyasadev, and then this goes on and on. So we understand. So first it's the Supreme Lord. From the Supreme Lord, we have, from the Supreme Lord, it went to Brahma, from Brahma to Narada Muni, and from Narada Muni to Vyasadev, and so on and so forth. Hope you understood this theme so far, dear devotees. And then, as we said, the 10 topics of Bhagavatam is also discussed in this chapter. Now, we all understood the 4 seed verses of Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by the Supreme Lord to Brahma. And Sukadev Goswami is now saying there are 10 topics. He further expands and says 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam just to answer Parikshit Maharaj's question. He says there is something called Sarga, which is the initial creation of the Supreme Lord. Visarga, it's the subsequent creation that is done by Brahma. After Lord Vishnu creates, it's Brahma who does the recreation, right? That is Visarga. Thana is positioning of the living entities in the various planetary systems. Poshanam is nothing but protection of the Lord. Uti is the impetus of the people to act in this world. Again, due to karma vasanas, they act in a certain way. That is Uti. And Manvantara is the different periods of rules of the different Manus. So, I mean, obviously, why he's telling this is because he wants to further. Then he talks about Nirodha, Mukti, Ashraya, and says Ashraya means the supreme shelter of Krishna. So he wants to specifically answer Parikshit Maharaj. So yeah, there are 10 topics that we are going to talk about, and these are the topics. The ultimate purpose of the topics in Bhagavatam is to focus on the 10th topic, which is Ashraya. That is to attain the supreme shelter of Lord Krishna. So the first 9 topics, they deal with the different energies, expansions, majesty, talks about greatness of Krishna. Understanding them actually helps us to sort of develop a clear spiritual vision to understand Krishna's personal attributes. It will help us understand, yes, Krishna's attributes with his devotees, how it's going to be. And all that will be described in the 10th canto, his personal attributes, his activities with his dearest devotees. But without understanding the 9 cantos, you may not understand greatness of Krishna. You think Krishna to be an ordinary person. Oh, yeah. This pastimes, yeah, I can understand. He's just engaging as if somebody would be involved in a worldly affair. No, that's not the case, right? That's the point. So, dear devotees, this is a sort of, obviously, I tried my best to talk about everything. What the questions were. A first question that was posed by Parikshit Maharaj and how Sukadeva Goswami answers, and then we talk about Ashtanga Yoga. We talk about the power of devotion. As people in this world of Kali Yuga, they are full of fickle-mindedness and their senses are unruly. So the best thing for them to do is the process of bhakti, and then how Sukadeva Goswami prays to the Lord before praising the Lord. I mean, prays to the Lord and his devotees. That is, he gets his blessings from the Lord to empower him. So some glorious words come out of his mouth. He also then prays to Vyasadeva and gets his blessings before he answers Parikshit Maharaj's question. And then we see our Sukadeva Goswami then brings in the conversation that happened between Narada Muni and Narada Muni and Lord Brahma. After that, he brings in the conversation that is Chatusloki Bhagavatam that happened between Lord and Brahmaji, Supreme Lord and Brahmaji. And this 4 seed verses expand more and more as we can see in Bhagavatam. And then 10 topics of Bhagavatam was explained by our Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. So one topic that I'm not elaborating or I don't have time to elaborate on is the universal form or the Virat Roop. But we did talk about it in our previous classes, so we should be good with that. So this is sort of the gist or summarization that I would say of Canto 2 as a whole. So hopefully you all understood that bhakti is the way to get out of this cycle of birth and death. So that's the final exam. And for the final exam, for us to pass, we have to remember Krishna. And that can happen if you continuously remember Krishna even while you're alive. Right. That's the point. Anyways, dear devotees, with this we will conclude our today's class. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas and our spiritual masters. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for such an excellent class and summarizing everything in just one class. Mataji, I really liked it when you liked the point which you made that you are the Lord is speaking through you. So that is the reason why you need that purification. I mean, I've heard lots of devotees saying for my purification, and I thought otherwise. But it is because the Lord is going to speak through you. That is why you needed that purification. That was excellent. Mataji, I was just wondering, so when the Lord showed Brahmaji the Vaikuntha Loka, and Brahmaji saw Goddess Lakshmi pressing or giving service to Vishnu, why did Lord not show Brahmaji Golok Vrindavan?
I think we talked about this, right, Mataji? We were talking about the creation aspect, and hence Vishnu was the creator, and he wanted to explain to Narji that yes, so that's why Vaikuntha, because he is the creator, and and more I think when it comes to the sweet rasa, that's when we bring Golokram down into picture. But first, you have to understand the greatness, and we are talking about creation and Sarga, Visarga. At this point, I think Vaikuntha is relevant. I think that is the reason for why Lord chose Vaikuntha as opposed to Golok Vrindavan.
And a devotee is asking quick recap on the Chaturshloki mentioned in 4 sentences, if you can, because they missed out. If you can just mention them again.
So we all know, as far as Chatusloki Bhagavatam, we understood that there are 4 questions that are posed by, 4 questions that Brahmaji asked. Because Lord said, yes, I'm ready to give you any benediction that you may require. Whatever you want, I'm ready to do. And at that time, Brahmaji said, I just have 4 questions. And for those 4 questions, Brahmaji is asking, our Lord is responding. For the first question, he says, see, I alone exist in my spiritual form. I exist when I exist before creation, I exist during maintenance, and I also exist after the destruction of this material world. The second question, he answers, see, whatever appears to be of any value, if it appears as in relation without me, it has no reality. And it's nothing but illusory energy, my illusory energy, that is Maya. If it appears in relationship without me, that is Maya. That's the second question's answer. Very in brief. And then the third question's answer is, I simultaneously exist within everything and I also exist outside of everything. Thus, one who is in love with me, he can see me everywhere. He can see I'm within everything and he can also see I'm outside of everything. So, even if a pure devotee sees material objects, they connect it with Krishna. That's what it means. Everything, they're able to see Krishna in it. And then the fourth question's answer is, one who's searching after me, he must perform bhakti. And through this process of bhakti, this is the way he can overcome these qualities that you're talking about, Brahmaji, that is pride, bondage, lethargy. Because Brahmaji, he wanted to do his work, but at the same time, he didn't want to become proud that I'm doing this work. No, I'm not doing this work. I'm just recreating. That's his humility, right? So one who is searching after me, he should perform bhakti, and that is the best process through which he can overcome not the bondage, pride, and lethargy. And by saying these four things, the Lord disappeared, and then after that, Brahmaji began to perform his job of recreating the universe from the elements that was given by the Lord. This is what it is, Mataji. Hope it helps.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. I think we've exhausted our time, and I know you are just starting your day there. So we'll let you go. Let us all unmute and chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Mataji. For an excellent class today. Hare Krishna.
Yes, 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam from second canto.